Welcome back to the Founder Matcher podcast. On this podcast, my name's Danielle and I sit with founders and operators and innovators building solutions to real world problems. Today, I'm joined by Mark Collier, who is the founder and CEO of OAYSA, a company we at Founder Matcher have been working really closely with. And I'm really excited to, sit down with him, ask him some questions. Mark's career has spanned it across 20 years in the horticulture industry and has solved his current venture has solved a pain point that plant owners have been facing for a really long time. So thanks for being here, Mark.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
Beautiful. We'll get straight into it.
Yeah.
So obviously, I did my research. I was really, really interested to, read up about you online and have a look at all the work you've been involved in. It seems that you obviously were working in the horticulture industry for quite a long time, and then you've pivoted obviously into the entrepreneurial space and you're building out your own company. Tell me a bit about that and the moment you kind of made that shift.
Yeah, well, so back in 2018, that's when it all began. A bit of a trauma incident, and I had what was called a paradigm shift. So after suffering a brain hemorrhage and a fractured skull, a bit of an incident back in 2018, I had a lot of time to think during recovery. When I was in the hospital, the doctors told me that 9 out of 10 people don't survive what happened to me. So it gave me time to think that I've not done everything I wanted to do. And I decided that, I've got another shot at this, and I'm going to make a good go at it this time. And so that gave me a chance to start building on myself first. So personal development was first, and I got myself a mentor. And it's just there had to be a better way to life than working the 9 to 5. So I made the decision to make a go at it myself, and I started growing plants in my greenhouse during my recovery. I couldn't work for 12 months. After growing hundreds of thousands of plants, I started to sell them from my front garden in a small market stall. And then that just grew, and ever since I've just been on this entrepreneurial pathway, and I'm here now with solving a problem with OAYSA. So.
Beautiful. Yeah. So how long was it between when you first started growing plants to having seen that kind of build out and grow?
Well, it all just happened really, because I've always been I've always been a gardener since I left school back in 2005. So I just grew this passion of plants. I began to learn a lot more about them, but the problem I'm solving was always there, and I just didn't see it. I didn't have this entrepreneurial mindset to do anything about it. And with my mentor, and I must give him a shout out, James Burke at Action Coach, he told me that you have to become more valuable to the marketplace for you to become successful by solving a problem that's not already solved. And that got me thinking for a while. Like I was trying to think, what problem's not been solved already? And I was looking at all different directions. I wasn't just looking at what I already knew. And it was when my sister told me, stick to what you know.
And what was that? Tell me about the journey of figuring out the problem that you wanted to tackle.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was trying to, because I was going through mental health, I thought I could help others with mental health, because working with plants helped me. I didn't need antidepressants. I didn't need medication. My therapy was working with my plants in my greenhouse. I figured I could help others, and I did do a lot of community work. I still do now. I've done work with children at the schools, planting up the schools, and donated hanging baskets and stuff. But throughout the journey, I was trying to solve mental health problems, other problems. And when my sister told me that, to focus on what you know, I didn't realise it was staring at me all this time. One of my old clients, we had a conversation, and she goes to Spain, where she has a property over in Spain. And she stays there quite a while. And when she returns home, all the plants are dead. And I was obviously with sympathy. I said, "Can you not get one of these self-watering plant pots that are on the market?" She said, "Yes, I've got them." But it wasn't working. They kept the soil moist for 2 weeks. Sometimes she was travelling for longer. And some plants don't require moist soil all the time. And that's when I put the two together. There's a problem there. And then I realised it's always been a problem. The amount of times I've heard people say, I don't have houseplants because I always kill them. And my mother is one of them who changed to artificial plant. And it got me quite cross, really. I was like, there must be a better way. So when I put all the pieces together, I remember sitting down one afternoon, just staring at my plant. I literally just stared, and thinking is a powerful thing. And I was like, how can I make that plant look after itself? And then I put pen to paper, and that's where I am now. I made my way to here, where I am now.
Yeah.
Quite
So
a
tell me
story.
about OAYSA. Obviously, it's obviously born out of solving a problem that was right in front of your face that
Yeah,
everyone struggles with. Plant care, tendering to your plants, having them be like a source of, what it was for you. Other people are able to also have that be a thing in their life. How was the moment that you built OASA? What was that like, and how has it been since you started the company?
yeah. It's been quite a journey. Lots of ups and downs, as most startup entrepreneurs will probably agree with.
Yeah.
At first, is obviously trying to believe in yourself. I mean, I was very
Mm.
enthusiastic. I was like, I've got this. I could do this. Um, I mean, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich, and it's like principles of believing in yourself and persistence and many other. And yeah, I just kept believing in it. But then I was always seeking others' approval at first. And it took quite a while. I went to a lot of trade shows and showing people what my idea was, and getting the discussions in place. And then almost within weeks, I've only drawn a few pictures online on my computer and what have you. And I had a garden centre sign an LOI. I didn't even know what an LOI was. That's how much of a beginner I was into the entrepreneurial world. Um, and I was just surprised. I got that approval, and then I just kept getting it. And um, credit to Founder Matcher, they have been a big supporter in this. Jake has helped me a lot recently. He believes in me. He believes in the project itself, and since then it's just proven and proven even more with the team we've grown, and it's been really good. Thanks to Founder Matcher for finding us our CTO as well.
That's so great. What has been the biggest surprise entering the entrepreneurial space? It's obviously, different from the previous work that you did. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's been the biggest surprise?
I think it's. I didn't expect it to take this long.
It's a process.
Obviously, when you're eager about something and you come up with something, you just want to get it out there. So it's been 3 years now since I came up with that idea. Um, but it needs to take that long. It needs a lot of
Yeah.
research, and obviously you become more understandable about it. The biggest surprise would be how much I didn't know about starting a business. And I mean, I've done 2 accelerator programs now, and being in a room full of technical-minded people, there was words that I never heard of. There's obviously metrics that I didn't know existed. Burn rate, MRR, ARR. Now, most people in the cohorts I was in was coming up with the answers of what these metrics were.
Mm,
I was going home and I was looking up what actually burn rate meant and what all these abbreviations meant before I could even figure out what it is. So it's quite, yeah. So at the beginning, I felt like I didn't belong in the room, but most of the cohort members, it made me feel welcome, and that's the biggest surprise. Obviously, how much I've had to learn. obviously now I feel a lot better, a lot smarter in what I need to do and where we're going and how to do it, how it's going to be done, basically.
Yeah, it's like it's such a journey from being a
Yeah,
beginner and then you obviously learn over time, but it sounds like you've gotten there, which is great. 3 years
it
is,
is.
yeah, such a
It is.
long journey. How has AI played like a role in what you're building, or has that kind of conversation been floating in within your team or at the accelerators you've been at? How does AI play a role?
I was just obviously putting the puzzle together, and I was obviously how can a plant look after itself? Obviously we need the data, and if you was to go onto AI, it's very clever. Obviously, everybody knows now. Um, if you ask AI how much water my plant needs to thrive, and it'll search the entire internet and find the data you need, and then recommend a watering schedule for you. Now, if I was to put this into a system, which is what we're doing, um, and then it will automatically water for a long period of time, so you don't have to look after it, and
Yes.
then we build on it from there. So yeah, there's obviously a lot more to watering than, but that is the biggest killer. And that's another thing. I like to challenge the question: what is the biggest killer of plants? And if you ask AI that, it will tell you overwatering and underwatering. But I think it's deeper than that.
What do you
It's the
think it
lack.
is? As
It,
somebody, I don't know much about plants. I would love to own some, but for the exact reason that you're talking about, I don't know
yeah,
where to start in terms of taking care of a plant. So,
yeah. It's
yeah, what does
people
it
not having the
need?
knowledge. It's people not knowing how much water the plant actually needs. It's providing you with that knowledge. So, I mean, like I said, I've been working with plants for 20 years. My lifestyle's very busy, and
Mhm.
I forget to water my plant.
Yes.
And I still have to look up, especially indoor plants. My strength was always outdoor plants. Um, so that's the main reason is that people lack the knowledge, and they have to go onto the phone, search for the data that we can. And they have busy lifestyles, so everyone's getting busier and busier at the moment. So
Hmm. Yeah.
uh,
No,
let me put,
it's
my
great
aim is to let the
product.
plant look after itself. So that's the plan.
Hmm. Love that. What do you feel like what has been like the most difficult part of like obviously, yeah, becoming a beginner and you mentioned learning all of the terms. Obviously, I'm also pretty new to the business space. So there's been a lot of learning around fundraising and investors and things like that. What's been the most challenging part of it, of the whole
Fundraising.
whole journey? Fundraising?
Fundraising is
Yeah.
unbelievable. I mean, I thought building a team and finding the right team would be difficult, but having found a matcher with that, it just made it so much easier.
Hmm.
But fundraising, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of your time away from what you want to be spending your time on. I want to be spending time with my developers, building the product, seeing the product go out there, building
Yes.
relationships with uh, partnerships and retailers and customers, building the wait list that we've currently got going. But I'm spending my time fundraising and
Yes.
pitching and learning how to pitch. I found a lot as well where some investors expect you to change the person you are. No, I quite like the person I am, but I have to become a lot. I feel like I have to become something else to some investors.
Yeah.
Where it's been quite refreshing recently that I've met a few that I could be myself around and um, be the honest, open me that I am.
I think that's a good sign. Probably means you'll
Yeah,
work well together
it does.
in that
Yeah,
relationship.
it does.
No, that does sound really, really difficult. Yeah, fundraising, it sounds like, yeah, that's probably the most difficult part.
I
I want
think
to go,
I think it's all, sorry. I think it's also I must add in living two lifestyles. So even though I'm building Oaysa, while I'm fundraising, I'm still doing my garden work that I do for my clients
yes,
that
yeah.
I have. So it's trying to fit in the two and build away so whilst I'm still living a life.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask that. So, yeah, you're obviously working the gardening stuff, and that's obviously you mentioned at the start kind of led you to building OAYSA. Tell
Yeah.
me a bit about how that like journey. So tell me how the gardening stuff goes and how you balance it all, and then I want to get into stuff about what we mentioned earlier around the accident that you had and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. I have this dream to only ever have to look after my own garden.
Okay.
Yeah, I had always, I've always been passionate about um, doing a nice job, having a nice garden. We've just moved house, me and my family, and my garden is a mess. And I've still not had a chance to get onto it yet.
How does
Um,
that feel?
quite, well, it's a lot of pressure because I know I need to do it, but when you spend the week doing everybody else's garden and making theirs look nice, the last thing you want to do when you get home is do the garden, especially when I've got Oaysa to work on as well.
Yes, yeah.
So, but yeah, I do enjoy gardening if I'm not under the pressure of um, getting it done, so I can get on to the next one and look after everybody's garden. So yeah, I want to get back enjoying what I do. That'd be nice.
Definitely. Where did the dream come from to have your garden that you mentioned? Like,
Yeah, so like I said, since 2018, prior to that, so it's 2016. That's when I started as a sole trader looking after people's gardens, and I've always looked after other people's gardens. Then the dream is just to have my own, where I can enjoy my own garden,
yes,
and yeah, that'd be the plan, to buy my house and enjoy my own garden. That'd be good.
that's the dream. That is the
Yeah,
dream. And so, yeah, you were obviously involved in, I'm not even going to use the word accident, obviously, but the incident that happened that obviously led you down the path of wanting to change the professional life that you were living in.
yeah.
How did that kind of, what was that experience like? And do you think that you would have like kind of sparked the thoughts around building your own company if that hadn't have happened?
I've always had the drive. I will say I've always had that drive to try and achieve my full potential. But life gets in the way sometimes, and you seem to forget that, and you just live. You just go day to day. Um, in 2018, when it happened, it was an unprovoked attack. Um, it's all in the newspapers that I was just waiting for a taxi, and some guy punched me. So, and he hit me once, my head hit the ground, and I was in a coma for 24 hours. And I woke up not knowing what happened. Didn't have a clue. Yeah, yeah. But that wasn't the hardest part. I think it was the months after because I built up a client base of being a sole trader looking after gardens, um, and I lost all that. I had to sell my van. I had to sell my tools, just to try and make you know put food on the table and what have you. It was quite difficult, and yeah, I was ready to give up at one point, but then my wife told me she was pregnant a few months later, and that just picked me up, and I thought I need to do something. I remember what the doctors told me, and I thought I need to do something about it. So I was gifted a greenhouse, and I spent the next 6 or 7 months in there just growing plants,
Who
and
gifted
then I
you the
started
greenhouse?
my wife's mum and dad.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
And did that help you in like the journey from obviously, yeah, being out of work to then having this thing that you're really passionate about to
it
work
did.
on?
I've always been. It's one of those things when you see a little seedling popping up from what the seed that you've sown, and it just gives you that sense of purpose. And then like I said, I started working with mental health groups later down the line, and we had this thing where the kids would grow their own plants, and then they would go and gift it to somebody when they've grown it, and
It's
it shows
beautiful.
obviously that the kids have made an effort, and that was for social isolation, was helping people with loneliness and stuff. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and it's been quite nice. And I feel like the giving back side of things was a big part of it. So when I started to grow my gardening business, I started to give back, donating hanging baskets to the high street, and it was the best marketing I could do because I had my little stickers on there. People were starting to talk about what all these plants are popping up from, and yeah, it just grew from there, and yeah,
Yeah, you obviously found like a thing that brings everyone together. Everyone, a lot of people love and need plants. And
did it.
it's, yeah, you brought people together clearly.
It is. It's I see why people buy artificial plants, and that's because they can't grow up their own, and maybe they don't have the time or the patience or um, just the knowledge of how to look after the plant.
Yeah.
And they're fed up. They're fed up. People give up on it, and they're fed up with the plant dying. It costs a lot of money. Obviously, water's a big issue at the moment. You overusing the water. So there's a lot of sustainability benefits for what we're doing with OAYSA. We want to broaden this along and move on to hanging baskets, different size planters, and even help local councils look after the plants around the town centres, city centres. So yeah, there's lots that we want to push on this, but we want to get this AI plant pot out there that looks after your plant for you, so you don't have to. Yeah.
I just moved into a new place and I want to get a plant or a few plants to, just change the energy in the space. What's one
Okay.
thing I need to know about, or like, what should I be looking for like an indoor plant? Like, what's the one thing I should know about it? Obviously, I want your product as soon as it's available. But in the meantime, what should I be considering on this journey to owning some plants?
Yeah. So that's a very good question.
I'm going to assume water
You-
is a big one. Overwatering,
Yeah.
underwatering, as you mentioned.
But you wouldn't need to know that if you was getting away to pot. You wouldn't need to
That's
know
what I'm saying. So
the
I'm totally
details
going to
of the
get
plant.
one. But in the meantime,
Yeah, so I'm trying to. In the meantime, obviously, yeah, I have to think of the drought tolerance. The drought tolerance is
yeah.
the big one. So, and I'll give you an idea. So, a very common plant is the snake plant in most UK homes. Very easy to grow, but obviously they're very high drought tolerant, and they do require a period of time where the soil's completely dry. They're not the only one, but there is some other plants that they require the time to absorb moisture through the air. It's just a survival instinct that they've been, obviously, evolution's done
Yeah.
its work. Um, yeah, so that's it really. So you've got to consider the drought tolerance of the plant
Okay.
before you even water it.
Yes.
And
Okay.
you need to know the name of the plant to begin with, and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. That's a big part of it because then you need to
Yeah,
know what it needs.
yeah,
Okay. So for people watching and listening that want to kind of like follow Oasis journey or, you know, get the product from you or just, get information,
yeah.
you're a world of knowledge in this space, where should they go?
So we've got a waitlist building, and we've got a landing page. It's Oaysa.world. And if you just go there, drop your email, and you'll be updated every 2 weeks
Okay.
on the full journey. We are launching spring 2027. We are still on target for doing that. So that's when the
Cool.
product's coming out, and that's when it all gets exciting.
Very
And
exciting.
people start to have a plant looking after itself.
What are you hoping to tackle in the next year before like launching? What's the focus? Just building out the community. Um, Obviously, it sounds like you're doing also like you're doing a lot of things. Also, the mental
Yeah,
health work.
yeah, yeah. So I do a lot of community work. I think I mentioned one that I brought back the local carnival, and it brings like 10,000 people together. So we brought that back just after COVID, and it hasn't happened before then since 2000, the year 2000. So
It's
that was
amazing.
quite incredible. So we brought that back. But so can you repeat the question?
Oh, just what's the focus for the next year
Yeah.
until you launch? Yeah, obviously I want to direct everyone to the wait list and just hear about what's coming.
Yeah, so the focus is to make sure we get it right. So we've got huge help. Again, thanks to founder Matcha. They linked us to Ravensbourne University. We've got them helping us with a bit of research, helping our CTO, Bogdan, who's doing a great job at the moment on the software. We want to make sure there's the least possibility of failure. We
Yes.
don't want phone calls saying the plants have died. That's one
Yes.
thing we
Yeah.
want to limit. So we want to make sure it's reliable and it does what we're saying it's going to do. So that's the main focus, is to make sure we
The
do that.
product. Yeah.
Yeah, the product itself, but yeah, building the audience, getting out there, telling everybody that plant care is changing. We're in
Yes.
the 21st century now. Well, obviously AI is taking over quite a lot of things, but it's about time our plants look after themselves so we can be doing what we need to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like an industry that you wouldn't like. It obviously needs to evolve, and
Yeah,
it should evolve, but it's one that you wouldn't think would typically be addressed by AI, but it is so clearly such a need. So I
yeah. I
love
think that
that.
obviously the sustainability side of businesses and homes, they can be a lot more sustainable. The whole country can be a lot more sustainable if the plants can take care of themselves. Um, we don't have to replace the plants. We can have more than just a one plant. Um, you can imagine the air in the house. I mean, we've got one behind us here.
Yeah, it's
Um,
beautiful.
it just makes the home a lot fresher and more calm and welcoming. It just really everybody deserves to be enjoying that.
I agree. I'm gonna go get one this weekend. You've
Yeah,
inspired me
it is.
for this new
Very good.
space. Thank you so much for joining me, Mark. It's been great,
Yeah,
and I will be posting the link for everyone to go sign up to Oasis waitlist. The product that you're building sounds incredible, and yeah, just the mission and drive. I can hear it in your voice. You're like, this
yeah,
is the goal, and we're gonna do it. So that's amazing.
that's the plan. Watch
That's
this
the plan.
space and hit the link below, wherever it is.
Sounds amazing. Thank you for
Thank
joining me.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.